We stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call.
Commissioner Palmer?
I'm here.
Commissioner Dewhurst?
Here.
Commissioner Rivera is absent, and Chair Nicholas.
Here.
May I get a motion to excuse Commissioner Rivera?
Do we have a motion? We do. And a second? So we have a motion and a second to allow her to stay away. All in favor? Aye. Next item is time for public comment for items that aren't on the current agenda. Is there anybody that has any comments? All right. Any conflict of interest? None reported. Let's proceed with the first item then. We have a conditional use permit for sale of drug paraphernalia and a sign permit at 375 Southweed Boulevard. You have a staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you this evening is a permit to allow drug paraphernalia to be sold at 375 Southweed Boulevard. We have a special ordinance that we have to follow for the sale of drug paraphernalia that requires certain occupancy requirements and also separation from retail as well as age requirements. Those are included in your staff report. The application this evening also includes a request to reface the sign. There's an existing sign at the structure from its previous use, so that's a freestanding sign and is shown in your staff report. It's a pretty standard refacing of the sign. Our review of the site is that it's zoned C1. It is commercial. This is an allowable use within the commercial zone, provided they follow the provisions of the sale of drug paraphernalia. We've included conditions of approval that, in some cases, parrot the ordinance, just so it's clear that we have certain things. For example, a conditional use permit is normally runs with the land and not the owner. But in this particular instance, because of the provisions of our own code, the use permit is not transferable. So if they were to sell this business at a later date, they'd have to come before you and ask for a new use permit. The approval of the sale of drug paraphernalia in this location does not, under any circumstances, allow the sale of cannabis in any of its forms at this location. So I want to be clear of that in case there was some confusion. You can't buy the bong and the weed at the same location. Staff believes it meets the criteria for the zoning code as established and has included the findings in your staff report. There are conditions of approval, as I mentioned. Those would be on page 7 of the PDF that you have in front of you there, and really calls out the limitations that are right out of our municipal code. And we thought it was useful to just put it there so you didn't have to look in 2 different places to find it. In terms of procedure for this evening, this is a public hearing because it is a conditional use permit. We're recommending this as an exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act. And after the close of the public hearing, then the Planning Commission can deliberate and make a decision.
So let's go ahead and open the hearing at this point, and we'd like to hear from the proponents.
Members of the commission, my name is Kurt Reichel at P.O. Box 1116, Mount Shasta, California, and I represent the applicant. Reviewing the conditions of approval, they're all pretty straightforward. We do plan to put in a partition to segregate the areas as mentioned in the application, and McHale Signs is the ones that are providing the sign. They're pretty well known. Other than that, if there's any questions specifically that you might have, I'd be glad to answer them.
Questions at this point?
Yeah, was this company already selling this product in the store and got caught?
I don't know what brought the applicant to the thing. You're not currently selling it now.
No, it's the first we opened and... You kind of took a look. You were selling.
Yes, Honor. First we open and we don't know we need a permit for it, and we're just displaying it and,
Then when you got told you need a permit, you didn't, you removed it?
no, we don't know we need a
Guess it
permit.
kinda shouldn't be on the shelf, should it?
Yeah, we just put it in the shelf and we take it out.
That's my only question.
Okay, so let's hear at this point, there's any additional information from you two?
I think we're good there. Anything else you want to add?
No, how they can, we have partition on it?
Yeah, that will be established by the building department, the partitioning, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So we can put curtain or we can put wall?
Well, the building department will tell us all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sign's a replacement of the existing can that's up there, Commissioner Palmer. And McHale Signs is well-known in the community, and they do a good job.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any other interested people to speak on this subject? Hearing that, do we have any staff response at all? No staff So let's go ahead and close the hearing and hear from the board. Is there any comments?
Right next to college by the park? No, I don't believe so. My own opinion is we have enough drug stuff going in weed already. We have how many cameras in downtown? 2? They're all selling it. But I really can't, I can't go, I can't, tell you what you can do with supplying men.
And just for your information, this isn't any cannabis, it's strictly, okay.
I don't know.
Would that make it the second one in town? Or the third one in town?
I believe that would be the second one
The
in
second
town,
one in town?
yes.
Okay.
Any further comments? Okay, so do we have a motion at this point?
Two in town already, motions, we don't need another one.
So we have a motion to decline the use permit for the paraphernalia license. Do we have a second?
I second that.
And we have a second. All in favor? Aye. As far as the signs go, let's, do we have any comments there?
No, make it nice on
Do we have a motion to approve the sign permit? We have a motion, a second? And a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, let's move on to the next item.
Mr. Chairman, what is our appeal period?
What?
How many days if we want to appeal this to the?
Maybe the staff can answer that.
I'll give it tomorrow.
Oh, okay, great. I'll call you. Thank you.
Next item is a conditional use permit for a food cart located at 203 Main Street.
Office space?
Yeah.
Do we have a staff report for that?
Mr. Chairman, a mobile food cart requires a use permit. I wish that it didn't because the standard conditions of approval apply to all of them. And it's something we could do at the counter, but our code requires this to be a use permit. Staff's recommending approval.
Well, it's not an everyday thing. It's for special events.
Let me go ahead and open the.
Oh, sorry, Martin.
Open the,
Mr. Nichols.
so let's go ahead and open up the public hearing at this point and hear from the proponent.
Hi, good evening. Elizabeth Tabor, 203 Main Street. This is a mobile little hot cart that I can pull behind my vehicle. NFL season's coming, some special events are coming. We just used it's basically, you can say it's a hot dog cart, but it's actually a hot food cart. And we just used it at a customer appreciation day when we had it here. So when we're done, we can hook it up to the car and take it home. It's not something stationary right there on the premises or anything. We just want to be able to have some special nights where we can have Chicago dogs or Philly steak and cheese. We thought of things that weren't going to interfere with anything local who also is selling food, but we are open later, as you know, so sometimes there's not much to offer on our side of town after particular hours. So, you know, we're just thinking maybe, I'm thinking maybe just a couple times a month, or a special event, or NFL kickoff night, or something like that.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yeah.
Any comments from any other parties? Let's go ahead and close the public hearing then and open up. Is there any staff response at all? Then let's go ahead and open it up to commission. Have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second? A second. All in favor? Aye.
Do I come to your office tomorrow, sir?
I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Good night.
Next item is Planning Commission is to review and make recommendation to City Council for the adoption of a housing element, zoning tax amendments, and notice of exemptions for common sense exemptions. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, every 8 years, the city is required to update its housing element to meet something called the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. You may have heard about this particular cycle of housing element has caused a great deal of heartburn for much of the state. In the city of Weed and in Siskiyou County, the RENA is 2. I'm working with some communities that went from a RENA of, say, 150 last year to 10,000 this year. So in terms of context, the idea behind the RENA is, it's what is called the Regional Housing Needs Allocation, RHNA. Behind the RENA is to allow housing that is affordable to the people who live in your community and to allow that at densities allowed by the state. So the state, we do an analysis of the sites that are available, and in some cases you have to rezone or redesignate sites in order to allow the density to occur. In this case, we have plenty of land available for residential housing at all sorts of densities. Please come and build your new house in the city of Weed. We're open for business. And so we've complied with the state law. It's a rather lengthy process. Much of this was paid for by grant money, so the city actually was able to get this done. Out of the review process for the state housing and community development process, there is a requirement to make some changes to update our code to reflect state law. Those be definitions, density, classifications of things. And so included in your staff report this evening are also recommendations for changes to the zoning code. I won't belabor with you because they're pretty minor. They really are definitional. There are no radical changes in here. I would bring that to your attention if that were the case. What I'd like the commission to do this evening after the public hearing is recommend the packet to the city council for consideration at their meeting. I'd like to get this all done before the end of the year because that's what we said we'd do in the housing element. But of course, if the commission has something we need to look at, certainly open to that. Available to answer any questions. It is a lengthy document. It is full of lots of legal ease, but we can easily meet our RENA, and this will put us in compliance with the state law.
So we do need a public hearing for this, correct?
Yes, sir. It is an amendment to our general plan.
Okay.
Because we're updating the housing element.
So let's go ahead and open the public hearing at this point. I don't see any interested parties anywhere. So I assume I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open up for comments from the
My only question is, the last time this came up, did they redo the survey? Because I believe the last time they redid the survey, they were including Shastina homes.
What survey is that?
I forget when it was, but when they were trying to decide how much low-income housing we needed in the area, I'm not sure if that, is this not pertaining to that?
Not pertaining to this at all.
Okay.
No. This is assigned, in this instance, because we don't have a council of governments, it was assigned by HCD specifically, and it went through the county. And all of the cities in the county and the county got the same RENA of 2. which is what I understand the lowest possible arena you can get. Apparently 0 is not an option. So, no, sometimes we do surveys for housing condition, or we'll do surveys for occupancy, those types of things. But in this instance, we did not do that, and it's not part of the element.
It was a pretty lengthy agenda form, without a doubt, and I would assume we could have missed a few things going through. Is there anything that you would think we should highlight?
No, sir. Chairman, you know my approach to these things. If it was significant or something I thought you'd be concerned about, I would bring that up. There'd be first thing on the agenda. This literally is minor tweaking of our code. I mean, our zoning code needs some help. As evidenced by this evening, we should not have had to listen to the poor lady with a food cart. We've known we have a sign code issue we have to go. So our ordinance needs some help. This is on the housing end of things, and it's definitional. We didn't make any radical changes. There was a recommendation by the state that we modify our general plan to meet our zoning code, but they were reading the wrong general plan. I was telling Sandy earlier, they're reading the wrong general plan because we've posted all of it. And what we really needed to post was what was adopted. And we posted the whole thing. No harm, no foul, that's all up there. But instead of looking at the preferred alternative, which was what was adopted, they looked at all these other things that had lower densities. And I was like, that's not what we adopted. And the city of Weed has been pro-housing for my entire existence here. I don't think we've ever said no to a housing project. And we actually encourage people to come and live in this beautiful city. So from our perspective, it was fine. But there are no changes in here that should give you pause at all, Commissioner.
Any further comment? Do we have a motion to approve or deny this?
Approve it.
And a second? So we got a motion to approve and forward it on to City Council. And all in favor? Aye. Aye. So we'll move on to regular business, which is a discussion item, which is a sign cone amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as the commission knows, we had to fix a provision in our code because it didn't read correctly. And this is the tweak to the code. We're bringing it to you as a workshop item rather than a public hearing. Make sure we get the tweak correct, because as a sign code change, we have to do a public hearing and do all the noticing, and then we'll have to go to the city council. And we figured rather than doing it multiple times, we might want to ask first if there are other minor changes to the code that we want to go through. If it were up to me, we'd do a wholesale reset of the code, but I don't think any of us have the stomach for that, and I just wanted to fix this one piece. But if there's something else we need to bring up, then we should do that. I'd like to spend our efforts fixing some of the other things that are more structural. Sign code isn't one of them.
Yeah. Going through it myself, it follows the intent that I recall many years ago when they put that ordinance through. And specifically, only one sign rather than one sign, and not really particular about where it was going to be. So I think I'm comfortable with the way that it is and in the way I remember it. Any other comments? All right.
What do you want to change it to? Is this from here?
What they've done is they've added the word only and each of in the paragraph C there.
Only needs one sign anyway.
Yeah. Well, it did say, as it read through, it said one sign intended for view, and now it says only one sign.
Okay.
Okay.
Only.
Yeah. And each of the following areas, where it did say property within the following described areas. Right.
The only property, that
Do we need any direction at all?
No, that's enough for staff. We'll go ahead and pull together the required stuff and do the public hearing noticing for an upcoming meeting of the commission. And we'll tack it on to whatever else we have going on that evening, so it's not the only item.
All right, let's move on. We have a motion to approve the minutes of July 17th. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Commissioners' reports. Any comments or reports? Staff reports?
Still looking for seat number 5. Thank you guys for making your schedules available for this evening. We really needed the housing element to be heard. Yeah.
How
So,
come you always wait till the people leave before you mention it?
so yeah, we're still looking for seat number 5. I have had some inquiries, but no letters of intent. So if you know anyone, please let them know.
What about Robbie? Robbie's not here. He's getting bored. He's trying to get in that house if he can.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? We have a motion, second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.